The Frog Who Became an Emperor. A Chinese fairy tale. Before we start today's story, I have one request for you. If you like the story or if you find fairy tales in general interesting, please give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Of course, it's not a must, but we would absolutely love it if you could do that. Now, without further ado, let's dive in and hear the story together. Once upon a time, there was a very poor couple. They were about to have a baby when the husband was forced to leave his home to find work in a faraway place. Before he left, he embraced his wife and gave her the last few pieces of silver he had, saying, "When the child is born, whether a boy or a girl, you must do everything you can to raise it. You and I are so poor that there is no hope for us now. But our child may be able to help us make a living." 3 months after her husband left, the woman gave birth. The baby was neither a boy nor a girl, but a frog. The poor mother was heartbroken and wept bitterly. "Ah, an animal, not a child," she cried. "Our hope of someone to take care of us in our old age is gone. How can I ever face people again?" At first she thought of getting rid of him, but she did not have the heart. She wanted to raise him, but she was afraid of what the neighbors would say. As she pondered the matter, she remembered her husband's words before he left, and she decided not to kill the child, but to keep it hidden under the bed. In this way, no one would know that she had given birth to a frog child. But within 2 months, the frog child had grown so big that it could no longer be kept under the bed. And one day, he suddenly spoke with a human voice. "Mother," he said, "my father is coming back tonight. I will wait for him by the road." And sure enough, the husband came home that night. "Have you seen your son?" the wife asked anxiously. Where is my son?" "He was waiting for you by the roadside. Didn't you see him?" "No, I saw no sign of anyone," her husband replied in surprise. "All I saw was a horrible frog that gave me such a fright." "That frog was your son," said the wife unhappily. When the husband heard that his wife had given birth to a frog, he was sad. "Why did you tell him to meet me?" he asked. "What do you mean, tell him to meet you? He went without telling me. He suddenly said you were coming tonight and went out to meet you." "This is really extraordinary," thought the husband, brightening up. "No one knew I was coming. How could he have known?" "Call him home quickly," he said aloud. "He might catch a cold out there." Just as the mother opened the door to do so, the frog came in. He hopped over to his father, who asked him, "Was it you I met on the road?" "Yes," said the frog. "I was waiting for you, father." "How did you know I would return tonight?" "I know everything under heaven." Father and mother were astonished at his words, and even more so when he continued. "Our country is in great danger," he said solemnly. "We are unable to resist the invaders. I want father to take me to the emperor, for I must save our country." "How can that be?" said the father. "First, you have no horse. Second, you have no weapons. And third, you have never been on a battlefield. How do you expect to fight?" The frog was very serious. "Just take me there," he pleaded. "I will defeat the enemy, never fear." The father could not dissuade the frog, so he took his frog son to the city to seek an audience with the emperor. After 2 days of traveling, they arrived at the capital, where they saw the imperial decree on display. "The imperial capital is in danger. My country has been invaded. We are willing to give our daughter in marriage to the man who can drive out the enemy." The frog tore down the decree and swallowed it in one gulp. The soldier who guarded the imperial decree was greatly alarmed. He could not imagine that a frog would take on such a responsible duty. But since the frog had swallowed the decree, he had to be taken to the palace. The emperor asked the frog if he had the means and ability to defeat the enemy. The frog replied, "Yes, my lord." Then the emperor asked him how many men and horses he would need. "Not a single horse or a single man," the frog replied. "All I need is a pile of hot glowing embers." The emperor immediately commanded that a pile of hot glowing embers be brought in, and it was done. The heat was intense. The frog sat before the fire for 3 days and 3 nights, devouring the flames mouthful by mouthful. He ate until his belly was as big and round as a bladder full of fat. Meanwhile, the city was in great danger, for the enemy was already at the walls. The emperor was terribly worried, but the frog behaved as if nothing unusual had happened, and continued to swallow fire and flame. It was not until the 3rd day that he went to the top of the wall to see what was going on. There, surrounding the city, were thousands of soldiers and horses as far as the eye could see. "How, Frog, are you going to drive back the enemy?" asked the emperor. "Order your troops to stop drawing their bows," the frog replied, "and open the city gate." The emperor turned pale with fear when he heard these words. "What? With the enemy at our very gates? You tell me to open the gate. How dare you trifle with me?" "Your Imperial Highness has ordered me to drive out the enemy," said the frog, "and since that is so, you must heed my words." The emperor was helpless. He ordered the soldiers to stop bending their bows, lay down their arrows, and throw open the gate. As soon as the gate was open, the invaders rushed in. The frog was above them in the gate tower, and as they passed underneath, he coolly and calmly spat fire down upon them, scorching countless men and horses. They fled back in disorder. The emperor was overjoyed to see the enemy defeated. He made the frog his general and ordered that the victory be celebrated for several days. But he said nothing about the princess, for he had no intention of letting his daughter marry a frog. "Of course I cannot do such a thing," he said to himself. Instead, he let it be known that it was the princess who refused. She must marry someone else, but whom? He did not know what to do. Anyone but a frog. Finally, he decreed that their marriage would be decided by the toss of the embroidered ball. The casting of the embroidered ball. The news spread quickly throughout the country, and within a few days the city was abuzz with excitement. Men came from far and wide to try their luck, and all sorts of people flocked to the capital. The day of the casting came, and the frog was also there. He did not push his way into the crowd, but stood at the edge of the crowded square. A gaily decorated pavilion of great height had been built. The emperor led the princess and her entourage to their seats high up on the platform. The moment had come. The princess threw the embroidered ball into the air, and it floated down gently. The crowd in the square surged and roared like a raging sea. As one and all reached out eagerly to grasp the ball, the frog took a mighty breath, and like a whirling tornado, sucked the ball straight to him. Surely now the princess must marry the frog, but the emperor was still unwilling to let that happen. "An embroidered ball thrown by a princess," he declared, "can only be seized by a human hand. No beast can do it." He told the princess to throw a second ball. This time a young, sturdy fellow caught the ball. "This is the man," cried the happy emperor. "Here is the person who will be my imperial son-in-law." A lavish feast was held to celebrate the occasion. Can you guess who this young, sturdy fellow was? It was, of course, the frog, now in the form of a man. It was only when he married the princess that he changed back. By day he was a frog, but at night he shed his green skin and turned into a fine, upstanding youth. The princess could not keep this a secret, and one day she revealed it to her father, the emperor. He was frightened but happy. "At night," he said to his son-in-law, "I hear you take off your clothes and become a handsome young man. Why do you wear that horrible frog skin by day?" "Ah, sire," replied the frog, "this outer garment is priceless. When I wear it in winter I am warm and cozy, and in summer I am cool and fresh. It is a protection against wind and rain. Not even the fiercest flame can set it on fire, and as long as I wear it I can live for thousands of years." "Let me try it on," demanded the emperor. "Yes, your majesty," replied the frog, and hastily removed his skin. The emperor smiled happily. He took off his dragon-embroidered robe and put on the frog's skin, but then he could not take it off. The frog put on the emperor's robe and became the emperor, and his father-in-law remained a frog forever. So, dear friends, that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed the story as much as we did. If you enjoyed our reading, please show your support with a thumbs up. This is not only a reward for us, but also a way for you to show your appreciation. Your thumbs up motivates us to keep creating great content. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our new stories. Just click on the subscribe button and activate the bell to receive notifications. And now, we're excited to hear from you. Use the comment section to let us know which stories you'd like to hear next, or if you have any special requests. Your interaction means a lot to us, and we look forward to exploring the world of fairy tales and magic together with you. Thank you for listening, and until next time.